Hey everybody! Oh my gosh, we're at episode 3 of Voom on Sex. What are we making today? Cheesecake. Today's topic, we're gonna explore what is sexual identity versus sexual biology. We're exploring LGBTQIA. You'll learn more about that right after we get our cheesecake in the oven, which I'm holding. Are you confused? Just go with it. Now we're ready to make our cheesecake, traditionally baked in the oven with cream cheese and also the addition of mascarpone cheese. What you're going to need is a 9-inch springform pan that's used for cheesecake, and what makes it special is it has a spring release bottom. It's even more fun to get back together. Seriously, it's like a puzzle. You kind of have to set it on the counter, really, and then tighten that right up. Wait, no, yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna put it back together. I'm gonna tighten it right up. Let's preheat our oven to 325 degrees. Our ingredients list include 8 ounces of shortbread cookie, a 1/3 cup of toasted pecans, 12 ounces of traditional style cream cheese, 1/2 teaspoon of lemon, 1 1/4 cup of sugar, 4 eggs brought to room temperature, 16 ounces of mascarpone cheese, 2 tablespoons of melted butter, some vanilla. We all know I don't measure vanilla. You also want to bring your cheese, your cream cheese and your mascarpone cheese to room temperature. First, you're going to take the pecans and the shortbread and grind them up finely in a Cuisinart, or you can also use a blender, or you can do it by hand. As you can see here, the pecan and shortbread cookies are finely ground. Now we're ready to add 2 tablespoons of melted butter. As you can see, all the ingredients are nicely blended. There's a nice consistency for our crust. We're going to take our crust and press it into the bottom of the pan. Very zen-like activity. Get a little rhythm going with it. Now our crust is nicely pressed into its 9-inch springform pan. It's going to go into the oven for about 15 minutes until it's nice and light golden brown. It helps if you give it a little shake. 15. Meet Valhalla's Zoo. Today we have Jax. He's my little bunny. Very excited to be here today. In fact, so much, he's got a Sunday hat to wear. A little church hat. Gonna make cheesecake today. Gonna be so tasty. Right, Jax? Right. Little baby. That sound means our crust is about ready. Woo-hoo. Let's get that out of the oven. Ooh. You want to be sure that your crust comes to nice room temperature so that you can handle the pan, because you're going to be wrapping it in foil before we place the cheesecake into its blood bath. I mean, water bath. Now it's time to make the delicious, creamy, silky, luscious, and oh so dreamy cheesecake filling. I feel like a little booby jiggles like help it. Ooh, cheesecake, cheesecake, cheesecake. Yeah! I'm going to take the cream cheese and the mascarpone cheese Run it through our mixture. Oops. Okay, so apparently my cheesecake got like way too excited and spit cream all over me. After you get a nice creamy consistency and you've blown your wad everywhere, you're gonna add the sugar. When the sugar is nice and incorporated into your cream mixture, you're going to add your vanilla and lemon, half a teaspoon of lemon. Add some vanilla. If you want to be precise, I believe it's I don't know. I really don't know how much vanilla. That looks good. Oh, that's even better. Let's just pour the whole thing in there. Add one egg at a time, and with each addition of each egg, let it fully blend, then add your next egg. So our filling is ready, but before we pour it into our crust, we're going to take the springform pan with the crust in it and cover it on the bottom in foil. What this does is it will seal it from the hot water bath that we're going to put the cheesecake into. Before we put it in the oven, we're going to decrease our oven temperature from 350 down to 325 degrees. Now that it's time to put our delicious, silky, luscious, creamy, and oh so dreamy cheesecake into the oven, you want to make sure you have a pan that is oven safe and that is wide and deep enough to hold your cheesecake. Put this in the oven first. Then we're going to add our cheesecake into the middle of that pan. Give it a good wiggle. Then what you're doing is creating a bath for your cheesecake to cook in. It keeps it from overcooking. Take boiling water to add to your bath. It's so hot in here. It's so hot. Fill your water bath about halfway up of the cheesecake pan. It's hot in here. I've been creamed on and sweetened up. You're gonna let that cheesecake bake for about an hour, but keep an eye on it. I'll show you how it's supposed to look and what color or texture you want to go for. But while it bakes, let's go talk LGBTQIA. Today's topic is such a wide topic. I could speak for hours, days, and weeks on this topic. And that has to do with the difference between sexual orientation and your biology. In episode 1, we discovered vagina magic and we covered the biology of the gorgeous vagina. In episode 2, we discovered penis magic and we covered the gorgeous biology of the penis. What we haven't talked about is sexual orientation, LGBTQIA. What is LGBTQIA? LGBTQIA is the acronym for how people identify themselves. Everybody typically knows what heterosexual means, and heterosexual means you like the opposite sex, so a male and a female. I'd really like to stress in this episode that regardless of what your body parts are, what your biology is, it's really how you identify and how you move throughout the world. L is for lesbian, G is for gay, B is for bisexual, T is for transgender, Q is for queer, also for questioning, I is for intersex, and A is for asexual or allies. L is for lesbian. I consider myself a lesbian in many ways, but most people would put me in the category of bisexual. But I say, hey, I love the ladies too. Lesbian, if you don't know, in case you grew up in a religious cult and you were never actually exposed to any gay people or any sort of orientation definitions, a lesbian is a woman who enjoys and has sex relationships with other women, homosexual women, basically. Now, please don't hold me to all of this. Again, it's a broad topic. I have a lot of compassion and a lot of love for people of all different identifications, genders, and biology. And I don't necessarily agree with putting people in boxes. We're allowed to move in between the categories. Gay is typically means a homosexual man. However, I also know many women who would identify as gay, even though they're a lesbian, or they might even be a bisexual. Bisexual means they like men and women. Transgender. Transgender means that a person was born with one sex and they've decided that they actually identify as the opposite sex. That doesn't mean that I've changed my body parts to be male. It means I move throughout the world identifying myself as the opposite gender than I was born biologically. I'd really, really like to stress, you should never ask someone what their biological parts are. It's really none of your business. So queer, what is queer in questioning? Queer encompasses all of the categories. What is intersex? This is usually the category that anyone that I've talked to and I go, hey, LGBTQIA, that's what I'm gonna be talking about. And they're like, well, what does the I stand for? Intersex means that a person was born biologically with a little variety of male and female. Now, historically, this was considered a hermaphrodite. Now, this acronym is really confusing because we have a combination of sexual orientation, but then also biology. So what does the A stand for? The A at the end stands for asexual or allies. So what does asexual mean? Asexual means someone who they're just not a sexual person. It doesn't mean that they don't love people, that they don't have relationships. They certainly do, but that sex is not a part of their life. The A also stands for allies. And I'd like to say, I hope every person watching this video falls under the category of A and allies. Because even if you don't fall under LGBTQ or I, don't be an asshole. That'd be great. So you're probably wondering, well, what's Valhalla? Where does she fall in the spectrum? I fall in quite a few categories, but I would actually say that I identify as a pansexual. Pansexual means that I tell people that it's an I love lamp because seriously, I love all kinds of beings and creatures, and really love for me is derived from the person that I'm interacting with, regardless of their biology, regardless of their sexual orientation. And I would say that I pretty much, with that in mind, I fall under bisexual and also queer. So I've carefully removed the cheesecake from the oven and its hot boiling water bath. How did I know the cheesecake was ready? Well, let me show you. You want it to have a nice jiggle, nice firm, nice soft jiggle. Look at that lovely jiggle. Kind of reminds me a little bit of the little jiggle. Watch, it's mesmerizing, isn't it? So is the cheesecake. You can go back and forth. Mesmerizing cheesecake, mesmerizing boobs. Mesmerizing cheesecake, mesmerizing boobs. Can't wait to dig myself a big, huge bite of this creamy goodness. So we're not gonna quite have enough time for our cheesecake to cool. However, I feel like we should at least try it. So it's out of the oven, looking so good. Never had warm cheesecake. Ooh, it's got a good flavor. Nice and vanilla-y. You know why? I didn't measure it. Magnus, You should totally try it. I have a little cookie for you, so it'll be kind of like eating the real thing. I'll even blow it off for you. I'll give it a blowjob. Here, try. I'm sure it's gonna be good. Maybe?
Where's the bacon?
Again with the bacon? Are you fucking serious? I make a cheesecake, no bacon. It's cool, see this? It's all right, I'm gonna smoke a joint. You know what? We'll see if Magnus gets any of that joint. How you like that, Magnus? Huh? All right, kids. It's been a great journey with you. We've learned about LGBTQIA. We've had some super hot cheesecake that bounces like boobies. You do you this month. That's right. Don't let anyone tell you what box you need to be in and that you can't move between the categories. Love yourself. I know I'm gonna.